Okay, folks, we are back for another movie review. Today is September 4th, 2024. And over the weekend, over Labor Day weekend, I reviewed Stagecoach. This is my first watch of this movie. I have never seen it, but I'm digging deep into the John Ford movie catalog. Recently, I just reviewed The Long Voyage Home. And I know I've reviewed one other John Ford film on my channel. I think I reviewed Drums Along the Mohawk, which came out in the mid-30s. But this film is considered one of the most important films ever made. It came out in a big year for Hollywood, 1939, which happens to be the year my grandmother was born. So this movie is 85 years old. 1939, you also get Gone with the Wind. I think Wizard of Oz, correct me if I'm wrong, came out around that same time too, 1939. This is a black and white film. We kind of see elements of that nighttime noir vibe that he captured so well in this film. This movie was preserved by the Library of Congress in 1995. It's pretty much on every critic's top 100 list, although it is a Western. It's considered a transcendent movie where it's breaking out of the Western genre, and it's basically a character study of several people. Andy Devine's in this movie. This is John Wayne's breakout role. He had not been a leading man. He had been in B movies up until this point. And John Ford wanted to cast him as the lead guy. Studios did not want to support him. They wanted Gary Cooper as the lead man. He ended up getting the funding together. This movie had a budget of $531,000 at the time in 1939, which is equatable to around $12 million in modern money. It was filmed in Monument Valley and on a couple of different movie ranches in the San Fernando Valley in LA County. Okay, so that being said, this was based off of an original story called The Stage of Lordsburg that appeared in Collier's magazine in 1937. That original story was written by a guy named Ernest Haycox. It was adapted for screen by Dudley Nichols. Orson Welles was quoted as saying that this is one of the most perfect films ever made, and he reportedly watched this movie over 40 times before setting off to make his own critically acclaimed film, Citizen Kane. Hour and 37-minute runtime. This is one of those 5 out of 5 movies, just like this was a 5 out of 5 movie for me. It's just, it defines a whole genre, right? Even though it's like from the golden age of cinema, to me, the cinematography, his partnering with the cinematographer that he did, and Ford, the way he lays out his shots, the way he does his long shots, the way he does his close-up shots of someone's face, the whole horizon shot. People did not like the way, now in a modern sense, audiences don't like the way that he portrayed Native Americans, and they call it like a revisionist Western. But, you know, it's a movie of its time. It won a couple of Academy Awards. It has an Oscar-winning soundtrack. What else? Let's take a look here. One thing that's disappointing, this DVD copy is the first DVD release. This is a 1997 DVD release, so this is a very early DVD. This copy is based off of a videotape copy, so the image quality is very poor. Peter Blagojevich found a print in John Wayne's garage in the early 70s that had never been viewed, and then UCLA restored it and made a duplicate print. And in 2010, the Criterion Collection released a beautiful remastered version. I would love to see that, because this definitely had VHS quality. It was very muddy, and the lighting didn't seem right the way they did the transfer. So that was kind of a detractor. But, you know, besides that, the content of the movie is what we're watching, right? 5 out of 5, masterfully filmed. Ford is really good at casting character actors. Thomas Mitchell seems to be a routine guy. He was in this movie as well. That came out the following year. He was a big actor in this time period. Again, this is a much more enjoyable role for Wayne, playing this quote-unquote everyman. Played a guy named Ringo the Kid, I think his character's name was. IMDb is 7.8 out of 10. Rotten Tomato critic average is 100%. And the audience score with 10,000 reporting is only 86%. And I'm wondering if it's because of this era of films, perhaps the way they portrayed Native Americans, it just doesn't appeal to a modern audience. I think if you're a true film aficionado, you could look past that and appreciate it for what it is. It's an important film. The Google reviews were skewed because it was tied into a bus line in the UK and people hated that bus line, but somehow they didn't realize they were reviewing this movie. So I'm not even going to quote the Google reviews because that's a skewed audience score. What else do I want to mention? That's pretty much it, folks. It's just, again, it's a character study. I believe the last Coen Brothers film, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and then it goes into a whole little mini vignettes of a Western genre. There's a whole Stagecoach scene in that movie, and I can see that they took inspiration from this. But it's one of those things where my wife wouldn't get into it, right? These older films are not for everybody. You have to really love cinema and just want to watch anything that... It's not a modern audience movie, but they act in a different way. It's black and white. I think it's a masterpiece. And we'll have to dig more into the John Ford archives. I know that I have watched in the last 2 years The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. I don't think I reviewed that. I might have to review that, and I might have to review The Searchers at some point. So things to come. Until next time, we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.